You've probably faced moments that would break many people, yet somehow you kept moving. Quietly, stubbornly, you endured. And sometimes that strength feels lonely because no one sees the battles inside your mind. But what if those struggles aren't signs of weakness? What if they're proof you're mentally stronger than most people? There's a certain type of person who doesn't crumble easily, not because life is easier for them, but because they've learned how to carry weight internally. You're the one people go to when things fall apart, the one who listens, adapts, figures things out. You rarely panic publicly. You absorb pressure, process it, and keep moving forward. But ironically, society doesn't always recognize this as strength. Instead, people label you differently. They might call you too serious, too reserved, too independent, too emotionally intense. Sometimes they even assume you're distant, when in reality, you're simply processing life more deeply than most. And over time, those labels can make you question yourself. You begin to wonder if something about you is off. But psychology tells a very different story. In a world that celebrates speed, noise, and constant stimulation, mental strength often looks strange. People who think deeply are called overthinkers. People who feel deeply are called too sensitive. People who endure silently are told they should open up more. But here's the paradox. The same traits that society criticizes are often the exact traits that build psychological resilience. Resilience isn't loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't show up as motivational speeches or perfect confidence. Resilience is what happens when your mind learns how to recover from stress instead of collapsing under it. And that recovery process begins with awareness. Psychologists describe mental strength through a concept called stress adaptation. When the brain faces difficulty repeatedly, it doesn't simply suffer. If handled correctly, it adapts. Neuroscience shows that repeated exposure to manageable challenges strengthens neural pathways involved in emotional regulation and decision-making. In simple terms, every time you face something difficult and survive it, your brain rewires itself slightly to handle future stress more efficiently. Think of it like biological training. Just as muscles grow stronger when exposed to resistance, the mind develops resilience when exposed to psychological pressure. But there's an important difference. Muscles grow through physical strain. The mind grows through emotional and cognitive strain. And if you've lived through situations that forced you to adapt, regulate your emotions, and continue moving forward, you've been training your psychological muscles for years. Imagine the mind like a building. Some buildings are designed for calm weather. They look beautiful, but the first storm cracks the foundation. Other buildings are engineered differently. They're designed with flexible structures, shock absorbers, deeper foundations. They may not look extraordinary from the outside, but when an earthquake hits, they stay standing. Mental strength works the same way. People who have experienced adversity often develop psychological shock absorbers. They pause before reacting. They observe their emotions instead of drowning in them. They adapt when circumstances shift. From the outside, this may look like emotional distance or quietness, but internally, it's structural resilience. Your mind has learned how to bend without breaking. For most of human history, survival favored people who could tolerate uncertainty. Hunters faced unpredictable environments. Leaders navigated constant threats. Communities relied on individuals who could stay calm under pressure. But modern society created an illusion of stability. Rigid career paths, fixed expectations, predictable timelines, and those systems often punished people who didn't fit perfectly into them. Yet the world has changed again. Today's environment is defined by volatility. Industries shift overnight. Information multiplies endlessly. Careers evolve instead of remaining linear. And suddenly, the very traits that once felt like disadvantages are becoming powerful advantages. Adaptability, emotional awareness, independent thinking. These are not weaknesses. They are survival traits for the modern era. The people who thrive today are not the ones who avoid uncertainty. They are the ones who can psychologically navigate it. If you recognize these patterns in yourself, there's a simple framework you can use to harness them. Think of it as the adaptive strength model. It has 3 stages. The first stage is awareness. This means recognizing that your inner depth and resilience are not flaws. They are signals of a mind that processes complexity. The second stage is channeling. Instead of letting your thoughts spiral inward, you give them direction. Writing, building projects, learning skills, or pursuing meaningful work transforms internal intensity into external progress. The third stage is alignment. This is where your environment begins to match your mindset. You surround yourself with people who value depth, curiosity, and growth instead of constant surface-level stimulation. And when these three stages align, something powerful happens. Your struggles stop feeling random. They start feeling like preparation. There's a story psychologists often see in different forms. A person spends years feeling like they don't quite fit. They think too deeply, feel too intensely, question things others accept easily. For a long time, they assume something about them is broken. Then one day, they encounter an environment that values exactly those traits. Maybe it's research, maybe entrepreneurship, maybe art, writing, design, or leadership. Suddenly, the very mind that once felt overwhelming becomes their greatest advantage. Not because they changed who they were, but because they finally understood what they were. A resilient mind that had been preparing itself all along. If you recognize yourself in these signs, here's something important to remember. Mental strength rarely feels like strength while you're developing it. It often feels like confusion, loneliness, and quiet endurance. But every challenge you've navigated has been shaping a mind that can withstand complexity, uncertainty, and pressure. And in a world that is becoming more unpredictable by the day, that kind of mind is incredibly valuable. So maybe the real question isn't whether you're struggling more than others. Maybe the question is whether your mind has simply been training for something bigger. Because mental strength isn't about never feeling overwhelmed. It's about learning how to rise again, every single time. If this video resonated with you, I'm curious, where are you watching from right now? Drop your country name. It's always fascinating how far these ideas travel across the world. And if you relate to these signs of mental strength, leave an emoji below to let others know they're not alone. Finally, if you enjoy deep psychological insights like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Because here, we explore the hidden patterns of the mind. And sometimes, understanding yourself is the most powerful transformation of all.